The alarm buzzed softly in the quiet control room. Valak's long fingers danced across the glowing panel as he tried to locate the source of the strange signal. His blue skin shimmered under the dim lights of the monitoring station. For 3 years, he had worked the night shift at Outpost 7, watching the empty space between stars. Nothing ever happened here. But tonight was different. The signal came from the Kepler 442 system, a place marked with red warnings in every database. Valak's large eyes widened as he read the classification: Quarantined Zone, Extreme Biological. Hazard. Do not approach. Do not contact. His supervisor, Corinth, walked over with heavy steps. The older alien's gray scales clicked softly as he moved. "What is that noise, Valak?" "I found something strange, sir. A transmission from the quarantined system." Valak's voice trembled slightly. "Should I ignore it?" Corinth leaned over the console, his breathing slow and careful. He had been working in space communications for 40 years. He had never seen anything like this signal. It jumped between frequencies, switched languages, and seemed to contain multiple message types at once. "Run it through the translation matrix," Corinth ordered. The computer worked for several minutes. Green text appeared on the screen. "Translation incomplete. Unknown language patterns detected." "Partial message recovered." Valak pressed another button. A rough voice filled the room, speaking in broken galactic standard. "This is... Anyone out there need help? Coordinates follow. Please respond. Time running out." Then came a series of numbers, star charts, navigation data. Someone was giving them exact directions to their location. Corinth felt his blood turn cold. "Pull up the historical files on that system." The computer displayed an old report dated 300 years ago. Corinth read aloud. "First contact mission to Sol 3, third planet, species designation human. Mission status, emergency evacuation. Casualties, 17 dead, 43 injured. Recommendation, immediate quarantine. These beings are extremely dangerous." Valak's hands shook as he scrolled through more details. The humans had attacked the peaceful contact team with primitive projectile weapons. They had shown no interest in diplomatic talks. Instead, they had captured several crew members and demanded answers about galactic civilization. "Sir, look at this," Valak whispered. He pointed to a technical analysis. "The humans nearly destroyed our fastest ship with chemical explosives. The report says they learned our technology within hours of seeing it." Corinth studied the medical reports. Human bone density was 40% higher than galactic standard. Their muscle mass was extreme. Their reaction time was faster than any known species. The gravity on their world would crush most civilized beings. They called their planet Earth, Corinth read. Deathworld classification, extreme weather, dangerous wildlife, toxic atmosphere for most species. The humans evolved as apex predators. A new alarm sounded. Valak quickly checked his sensors. "Sir, I am detecting massive energy readings from the quarantined system. Show me." The main screen displayed a star map. Red dots appeared around the Sol system, dozens of them. Each dot represented a large vessel moving at incredible speed. "Are those ships?" Valak asked. "They must be." Corinth calculated the trajectory. "They are heading for multiple council worlds. This is not a random flight path. They know exactly where to go." Valak felt sick. "How is that possible? They have been quarantined for 3 centuries. Corinth pulled up communication logs from the past 50 years. His worst fears were confirmed. "Look at this. Intercepted signals, radio transmissions, data, streams. The humans have been listening to us for decades." The evidence was overwhelming. Human technology had advanced far beyond the primitive level reported centuries ago. They had developed faster-than-light communication. They had built deep space sensors. Most terrifying of all, they had been studying galactic civilization without anyone knowing. Sir, Valak said quietly, what if the quarantine failed? What? If they learned about us because we were not careful enough? Corinth did not answer. He was reading the original contact report more carefully. The human military response had been swift and brutal. They had mobilized their entire planetary defense system within hours. They had treated the peaceful contact mission as an invasion force. A new message arrived on the emergency channel. This time, the translation was perfect. Galactic Council vessels, this is Captain Marcus of the Earth Defense Force. We have received distress signals from the Vega system. Our analysis indicates a massive threat approaching the galactic core. We are responding with full military deployment. Do not interfere with our ships. We are coming to help. Corinth and Valak stared at the screen in silence. Did he say they are coming to help? Valak whispered. Before Corinth could respond, the long-range sensors detected something that made both aliens step back from their controls. The human ships were not just fast, they were impossibly fast. Council vessels could travel between stars in weeks. These ships would reach the nearest Council world in days. Send an emergency message to High Command, Corinth ordered. Tell them the quarantine has been broken. The humans are coming. Valak's fingers moved quickly across the controls. What should I tell them about the human intentions? Corinth looked at the tactical display. More red dots appeared every minute. The human fleet was enormous. Ships of sizes never seen before were emerging from the Sol system. Some were larger than Council space stations. Tell them we do not know if this is a rescue mission or an invasion, Corinth said. Tell them to prepare for both possibilities. As Valak sent the message, another transmission came from the human fleet. This time it was not a communication request. It was raw sensor data, star charts showing the movement of something dark and massive approaching from the galactic rim. Technology signatures unlike anything in Council databases, energy readings that suggested weapons capable of destroying entire worlds. Sir, Valak said, his voice barely audible. I think the humans are telling the truth. Something terrible is coming. Something worse than them. Corinth studied the data. If the human analysis was correct, the galaxy had weeks before this unknown threat reached populated systems. The Council Defense Force would need months to mobilize effectively. But how do the humans know about this threat? Corinth wondered aloud. Another message provided the answer. The humans had not just been listening to Council communications. They had been monitoring deep space. They had detected the approaching danger long before Council sensors could reach that far. The truth hit Corinth like a physical blow. The humans had not broken quarantine to attack anyone. They had broken quarantine because they had detected a threat that would destroy everything, including Earth. Valak, send another message to High Command. Tell them the humans may be our only chance for survival. As if responding to his words, the final transmission of the night arrived. It was simple and direct. Council worlds, this is Admiral Torres of the Human Defense Fleet. We know you fear us. We know you think we are monsters. You are probably right. But something worse than monsters is coming for all of us. We are the only ones who know how to fight monsters. Let us help you, or we will all die together. The transmission ended. Valak and Corinth sat in the darkness of their small outpost, watching the red dots on their screen multiply. The Deathworlders were coming. The only question was whether they would arrive as saviors or as conquerors. Outside the station, space itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for an answer that would determine the fate of every living being in the galaxy. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 47 worlds sat in their floating chairs, all eyes fixed on the massive display screen at the center of the chamber. Chancellor Timon's tentacles curled and uncurled as he reviewed the emergency reports flooding in from across the galaxy. Order! Order! Timon's voice boomed through the hall. The multiple rows of alien delegates slowly quieted down. We have called this emergency session to address the situation in the Sol system. Admiral Brix stood up from her chair. Her metallic skin gleamed under the bright lights as she activated her personal display. Honored Council members. 12. Hours ago, our monitoring stations detected a massive fleet emerging from the quarantined human system. We now have confirmation of at least 200 vessels of unknown design. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. 200 ships was larger than most planetary defense forces. "Show us what we are dealing with," requested Counselor Nex from the Centauri delegation. Admiral Brix pressed a control. The main screen filled with images captured by long-range sensors. The human ships looked nothing like the elegant council vessels with their smooth curves and artistic designs. These ships were angular, dark, and covered in heavy armor plating. They bristled with weapon systems that seemed designed for one purpose: destruction. As you can see, Admiral Brix continued, human ship design follows no known engineering principles. They appear to prioritize survival over efficiency. Their armor is 3 times thicker than our heaviest military vessels. Counselor Zeth from the Rigel system raised a thin arm. How do they achieve faster-than-light travel with such massive ships? That is the disturbing part, Admiral Brix replied. Our analysis suggests their drives are more powerful than anything we have developed. They are not just moving fast for their size, they are moving faster than our best ships, period. Dr. Quinn, the Council's chief xenobiologist, requested permission to speak. Her small, bird-like form seemed fragile compared to the other delegates, but her knowledge was respected throughout the galaxy. Honored members, she began, I have spent the last 10 hours reviewing everything we know about human biology and their homeworld. What I found should terrify us all. The hall fell completely silent. Earth's gravity is 1.4 times galactic standard. The atmospheric pressure would crush most of our species. The oxygen content is toxic to 40% of Council races. The planet experiences violent weather patterns that would be classified as natural disasters on our worlds. Dr. Quinn activated her own display. Images of Earth's wildlife appeared on screen. Large predators with massive teeth. Pack hunters working together to bring down prey many times their size. Creatures that could survive in environments that would kill most galactic life forms. Humans evolved at the top of this food chain, Dr. Quinn continued. Every aspect of their biology is designed for survival in the most hostile environment any of us have ever studied. Their bone density, muscle mass, reaction speed, and healing ability are all far beyond galactic norms. Counselor Vell from the Tau Ceti system interrupted. But surely their intelligence suffers from this focus on physical capability. Unfortunately, no, Dr. Quinn replied sadly. Intelligence testing from the original contact mission shows human cognitive ability equal to or superior to most Council species. They learn new technology with frightening speed. Worse, their entire culture is based on conflict and competition. She displayed historical data recovered from human transmissions. They have been in a state of almost constant warfare for their entire recorded history. They have developed technology specifically for killing their own kind. They know more about weapons, tactics, and military strategy than all Council worlds combined. Admiral Brix took control again. This brings us to our current situation. Long-range scanners show the human fleet has split into multiple groups. They are approaching 17 different Council systems simultaneously. The display showed the tactical situation. Red dots representing human ships were converging on major population centers throughout Council space. What are their demands? Asked Chancellor Thyman. That is the strange part, Admiral Brix admitted. They have made no demands. They have not threatened anyone. They have simply announced they are coming to help defend against something they call the hegemony. Counselor Nex leaned forward. Has anyone heard of this hegemony? Dr. Quinn checked her databases. No reference in any Council records, but the humans have sent us detailed sensor data about massive ships approaching from the galactic rim, unknown technology, energy signatures that suggest weapons capable of planetary destruction. How do we know this data is real? demanded Counselor Zeth. This could be a human trick to justify invasion. Admiral Brix's expression grew grim. Because 3 hours ago, we lost contact with the mining colony at Kepler 186. Before the transmission ended, they reported unknown ships attacking with weapons that dissolved their planetary shields in seconds. The hall erupted in shocked voices. Kepler 186 was on the galactic rim, exactly where the human data suggested the threat would first appear. "Order! Order!" Chancellor Thyman called. When quiet returned, he continued, "Admiral, what is the status of our defense forces?" "We have 43 patrol ships in that sector," Admiral Brix replied. "I have ordered them to investigate, but if the human data is accurate, they will be vastly outnumbered." Counselor Vell stood up. "I move that we demand the human fleet stop its advance immediately. This could be an elaborate invasion plan." "And if they refuse?" asked Dr. Quinn. "Then we defend ourselves," Counselor Vell replied firmly. Admiral Brix looked uncomfortable. "Honored. Counselor, our analysis suggests that would be inadvisable. The human fleet alone appears capable of overwhelming our entire defense force. Their weapons technology is beyond anything we have encountered." The debate continued for hours. Some delegates wanted to treat the humans as invaders. Others believed their warning about the approaching threat. A few suggested immediate evacuation of rim worlds. Finally, Chancellor Thyman called for quiet. "We need more information. I propose sending a diplomatic mission to establish contact with the human fleet." "Who would volunteer for such a dangerous mission?" asked Counselor Nex. Before anyone could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the chamber. Emergency lights flashed red as Admiral Brix received an urgent communication. "What is it?" "Chancellor," Thyman demanded. Admiral Brix's face had turned pale. "The patrol ships at Kepler 186, they found the colony. And it is gone. Completely. The planet itself has been stripped of all life. The attackers left nothing behind except empty rock." The hall fell silent. 40 million beings had lived on Kepler 186. "There is more," Admiral Brix continued. "Our ships detected the attacking fleet moving toward the next system. Estimated time of arrival? 18 hours. But before they could send detailed scans, something else happened." "What?" "A human battle group appeared. 27 ships. They engaged the unknown fleet immediately." Chancellor Thyman leaned forward. "What was the result?" Admiral Brix checked her display again. "The unknown fleet was destroyed. All enemy ships eliminated. The human commander sent a message to our patrol ships. Target neutralized. Sector secure. Continue evacuation procedures." Counselor Vell looked confused. "Evacuation procedures? We never ordered any evacuation." "The humans did," Admiral Brix explained. "They are moving civilian populations away from the rim worlds. They are not conquering territory. They are protecting it." Dr. Quinn spoke quietly. "How many human ships were lost in this battle?" "None," Admiral Brix replied. "Not a single human vessel was even seriously damaged. The implications hit everyone at once. An enemy fleet capable of destroying an entire planet had been eliminated by human forces without losses. If the humans had wanted to conquer Council space, they could have done so easily." Chancellor Thyman made his decision. "Contact the human fleet. Arrange a meeting. If they truly wish to help us, we need to learn everything they know about this threat." As the council session ended, delegates filed out in worried groups. None of them noticed the small notification that appeared on Admiral Brix's personal screen. Long-range sensors had detected more energy signatures approaching from the rim. Hundreds of them. The destroyed fleet at Kepler 186 had not been the main attack force. It had only been a scout group. The real invasion was just beginning, and only the Deathworlders seemed prepared to fight it. The neutral station Harmony Junction had been built as a meeting place between different species. Its large docking bays could accommodate ships from any Council world. Today, those bays would host the most dangerous first contact meeting in galactic history. Diplomat Nayara checked her atmospheric suit one final time. As a Delian, her species needed carefully controlled temperature and humidity. The thought of meeting the notorious humans filled her with dread, but someone had to represent the Council's interests. "The human shuttle is requesting permission to dock," announced Station Commander Pike over the intercom. Nayara looked through the observation window. The human shuttle was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was built like a weapon, all sharp, angles and heavy plating. Even their transport vessels looked ready for battle. "Grant them permission," she replied. "But maintain full security protocols." The shuttle docked with a loud clang that shook the entire station. Warning lights flashed as the airlock sensors detected atmospheric conditions that would be lethal to most species. Pressure readings showed levels that would crush a Delian in seconds. "They are requesting a gravity adjustment to their normal levels," Commander Pike reported. "Absolutely not," Nayara replied quickly. "If we adjust to their standards, half our security team will be unable to move." A new voice came over the communication system. It was deep, rough, and spoke Galactic Standard with a strange accent. "This is Captain Reeves of the Human Defense Force. We understand your concerns about our environmental needs. We will adapt to your station conditions for this meeting." Nayara felt surprised. She had expected demands and threats, not cooperation. The airlock cycled open. Two figures emerged, wearing what appeared to be light environmental suits. Even through the suits, Nayara could see they were massive. Captain Reeves stood at least 2 meters tall, with broad shoulders and thick limbs. His companion, introduced as Lieutenant Walsh, was slightly smaller but moved with the fluid grace of a predator. "Diplomat Nayara," Captain Reeves said, extending a gloved hand. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting." Nayara stared at the offered hand. She had read about human greeting customs, but seeing it in person was different. The gesture seemed peaceful, but she could see the power in those fingers. This creature could probably crush her bones without effort. She carefully extended her own hand. Captain Reeves's grip was gentle but firm. Even through his environmental suit, she could feel the strength there. "Please, follow me to the conference room," Nayara said. As they walked through the station corridors, Nayara noticed how the humans moved. They constantly scanned their surroundings, noting exits and potential threats. Their heads turned toward every sound. It was like watching predators in unknown territory. The conference room had been prepared with seating designed for different species. Captain Reeves and Lieutenant Walsh took chairs that creaked under their weight. "Before we begin," Captain Reeves said, "I need to share something with you, something that will change how you see everything." He placed a small device on the table. It projected a 3-dimensional star map showing the galaxy from an unusual perspective. For the past 50 years, Earth has been monitoring deep space transmissions. We know about the Galactic Council. We know about your different species, your politics, your technology levels. We have been watching and learning. Nayara felt a chill run through her body. "You have been spying on us?" "We have been protecting ourselves," Lieutenant Walsh corrected. "After your people visited Earth 3 centuries ago, we realized we were not alone. We also realized we were considered dangerous." Captain Reeves manipulated the star map. "At first, we thought you might return with a larger force. We prepared for invasion. But as decades passed, we began to understand your nature. You are peaceful people, explorers, not conquerors." "Then why did you attack our contact team?" Nayara demanded. "Because we did not understand your intentions," Captain Reeves replied honestly. "Your ships appeared without warning. Your people demanded information about our planet and civilization. To us, that looked like reconnaissance for invasion." Lieutenant Walsh leaned forward. "You must understand. Every species we evolved alongside on Earth was trying to kill us. Our first instinct is always defensive aggression." Captain Reeves changed. The star map display. Now it showed the galactic rim, with red indicators marking several systems. 3 months ago, our deep space monitors detected something that terrified us. Ships unlike anything in your databases. Technology that seemed designed for one purpose: complete destruction of all life. Nayara studied the display. You are talking about the attacks on our rim colonies. We are talking about something much worse, Captain Reeves said grimly. What you call attacks were just scouting missions. The real threat is still coming. He activated a recording. The voice that emerged was artificial, emotionless, and spoke in mathematical patterns rather than words. This is the hegemony. All biological life forms are classified as inefficient. All technological resources will be acquired and integrated. Resistance will result in immediate termination, Lieutenant Walsh translated. They sent this message to 17 different systems before attacking. It is the only communication we have recorded from them. What do they want? Nayara asked. Everything, Captain Reeves replied. Our analysis suggests they are a machine intelligence that consumes entire civilizations. They take the technology, convert the biological matter into fuel, and use both to build more ships for the next target. Nayara felt sick. How do you know all this? Captain Reeves handed her a data chip. Because we received a message from the last survivors of the Vega system. A human colony ship, the New Horizon, was exploring that region when the hegemony attacked. You have colonies outside Earth? Nayara was shocked. 7 systems, Lieutenant Walsh confirmed. We have been expanding slowly, carefully, staying away from Council space. The New Horizon was our furthest outpost. Captain Reeves continued. They managed to scan the hegemony fleet before they died. What they found was a collection of ships built from the remains of hundreds of dead civilizations. The hegemony has been consuming the galaxy's outer edge for centuries. Nayara reviewed the data on the chip. The technical specifications were terrifying. Hegemony ships were not just powerful, they were efficient. Every weapon system was designed for maximum destruction with minimum energy expenditure. Why are you telling us this? She asked. Because they are heading for the galactic core, Captain Reeves explained. All your major population centers. Billions of lives. And based on what we saw at Vega, your current military technology cannot stop them. Lieutenant Walsh activated another display. This is a tactical analysis of Council defense capabilities versus hegemony forces. The numbers are not encouraging. Nayara looked at the projections. Even with their entire fleet concentrated, the Council forces would be outnumbered 5-1. Worse, the hegemony's weapons were significantly more advanced. What do you propose? She asked quietly. Captain Reeves stood up, his full height impressive, even in the low gravity of the station. We propose an alliance. Humans are very good at one thing, war. We have been fighting for survival our entire existence. We know how to defeat enemies that are stronger, faster, and more numerous. But what do you want in return? Nothing, Lieutenant Walsh said simply. If the hegemony destroys the Council worlds, they will eventually reach Earth. We are fighting for our own survival as much as yours. Nayara felt confused. You are offering to help us with no conditions? Captain Reeves nodded. We are offering to do what we do best, what evolution designed us for. We are offering to be your soldiers in a war you cannot win alone. Before Nayara could respond, emergency alarms began sounding throughout the station. Commander Pike's voice came over the intercom. All ships, emergency departure protocols are now in effect. Long-range sensors have detected a massive hegemony fleet approaching the Tau Ceti system. Estimated arrival, 6 hours. Captain Reeves was already moving toward the door. Lieutenant, signal the fleet. Full battle deployment. Wait, Nayara called. What about our discussion? Captain Reeves turned back to her. The discussion is over, diplomat. Your people have 6 hours to decide if you want our help or if you prefer to face the hegemony alone. As the humans left for their shuttle, Nayara realized the galaxy had changed forever. The choice was no longer whether to trust the Deathworlders. The choice was whether to survive with their help or die with their principles. Outside the station, the human fleet was already moving toward the threatened system, ready to fight a war that would determine the fate of every living being in the galaxy. The massive human dreadnought, Thunder of Earth, hung in orbit above the Council capital world like a dark moon. Its angular hull, bristling with weapon systems, cast shadows across the elegant spires of the planetary defense stations. Admiral Elena Torres stood on the bridge, watching Council representatives shuttle back and forth between their ships and hers. The integration was not going smoothly. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Commander Blake from the communications station, "Council Fleet Admiral Brix is requesting another meeting about tactical coordination." Torres sighed. "Tell her I will be there in 10 minutes, and make sure our translation systems are working perfectly. The last thing we need is a misunderstanding." In the main conference room, Admiral Brix waited with her senior staff. The elegant Alteran looked uncomfortable in the human ship's harsh lighting and dense atmosphere. Her blue skin had taken on a pale shade since boarding. "Admiral Torres," she began carefully, "my tactical officers have reviewed your battle plans. We have concerns." Torres took a seat across from her. The chair, designed for human proportions, made her look enormous compared to the Council officers. "What kind of concerns?" Admiral Brix activated a holographic display showing the approaching hegemony fleet. "Your strategy calls for our ships to engage the enemy directly, while your forces perform what you call flanking maneuvers. Our analysis suggests this will result in unacceptable casualties among Council forces." Torres studied the display. "How many casualties do you consider acceptable?" "Ideally, none. Our doctrine emphasizes disabling enemy vessels, not destroying them. We prefer to minimize loss of life on both sides." Torres was quiet for a long moment. "Admiral Brix, may I ask how many major wars your species has fought?" "Wars?" Admiral Brix looked confused. "We have had territorial disputes, resource conflicts, diplomatic incidents, but actual warfare? None in over 2 centuries. How many people have you personally seen die in combat?" Admiral Brix shifted uncomfortably. "I have never been in actual combat. The Academy trains us for peacekeeping operations and first contact situations." Torres leaned back in her chair. "I have been in 17 major battles. I have seen ships destroyed with all hands. I have lost friends, colleagues, and subordinates. I understand the cost of war better than you can imagine." She stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the Council fleet. Their ships were beautiful, artistic, designed by people who saw space travel as exploration and discovery. "The hegemony is not interested in negotiation," Torres continued. "They do not take prisoners. They do not show mercy. They will destroy every ship in your fleet and convert the wreckage into materials for their own vessels. Your choice is simple. Accept casualties now while fighting, or accept total extinction later while hiding." Admiral Brix's staff exchanged worried glances. Commander Zenth, her tactical officer, spoke up. "Admiral Torres, surely there must be some way to minimize losses. Perhaps if we could communicate with the hegemony leadership." Torres turned back to face them. "There is no leadership. The hegemony is a machine intelligence. It makes decisions based on efficiency calculations. The most efficient way to acquire your resources is to kill everyone who might resist." She reactivated the holographic display and began modifying the tactical plan. "Here is what we know about hegemony battle tactics. They advance in tight formations, using overlapping shield matrices for protection. They focus fire on the largest targets first, usually command ships." As she spoke, Torres highlighted different sections of the enemy formation. "They do not retreat. They do not negotiate. They fight until every ship is destroyed or every enemy is dead." Admiral Brix watched the simulation with growing horror. "How do you propose to defeat such an enemy?" "By being more ruthless than they are," Torres replied simply. "The hegemony expects rational opponents who value their own lives. They do not expect humans. She called up footage from the battle at Kepler 186. Council officers watched in shocked silence as human ships deliberately flew into hegemony formations, using their own hulls as weapons when their armaments were exhausted. "This is madness," whispered Commander Zenth. "This is survival," Torres corrected. "Every human ship is expendable if its sacrifice saves civilian lives. Every human soldier knows they might die in this war. We have accepted that cost." She changed the display to show human ship designs. Unlike the elegant council vessels, human ships looked like flying fortresses, thick armor, redundant systems, and weapons designed for maximum damage. "Your ships are built for exploration," Torres explained. "Beautiful, efficient, designed by optimists who believe in the basic goodness of the universe. Our ships are built by pessimists who assume everyone is trying to kill us." Admiral Brix studied the human vessel specifications. "These armor ratings, your ships can survive direct hits that would vaporize our vessels." "They have to," Torres replied, "because we fight enemies who never stop shooting." Over the next several hours, Torres walked the council officers through human military doctrine. The differences were staggering. Where council forces used precision, strikes to disable key systems, humans used overwhelming firepower to destroy everything. Where council tactics emphasized minimal casualties, human tactics assumed maximum casualties and planned accordingly. Engineer Walsh joined the meeting to explain human weapons technology. "This is a standard human plasma cannon," he said, displaying technical specifications. "It fires charged particles at 40% the speed of light." Commander Zenth checked his calculations twice. "This weapon could destroy a small moon." "If necessary," Walsh confirmed. "We also have nuclear missiles, antimatter warheads, and kinetic projectiles that can punch holes through planets." "Why do you need such destructive weapons?" Admiral Brix asked. "Because sometimes you have to destroy something completely to make." "Sure, it stays dead," Walsh replied. "The hegemony can repair damaged ships and rebuild destroyed technology. They cannot rebuild matter that has been converted to energy." Dr. Kim, the human fleet's xenobiologist, presented her analysis of human council. "Integration challenges. The fundamental problem is philosophical," she explained. "Council species evolved on worlds where cooperation meant survival. Humans evolved on a world where violence meant survival." She displayed psychological profiles of both groups. Council. Officers are trained to think about consequences, long-term effects, and diplomatic solutions. Human officers are trained to identify threats and eliminate them as quickly as possible. Admiral Brix looked overwhelmed. "How can we possibly work together?" Torres had a simple answer. "You handle strategy and logistics. We handle the killing." The meeting was interrupted by urgent communications from the fleet's forward scouts. Lieutenant Blake burst into the conference room without waiting for permission. "Admiral, priority message from the Advanced Reconnaissance Group." Torres read the message quickly, her expression growing grim. "The hegemony fleet is larger than we estimated. They have incorporated ships from at least 12 different conquered civilizations." She displayed the new intelligence on the main screen. The approaching enemy force was 3 times the size of their previous estimates. "How many ships?" Admiral Brix asked. "Over 800 confirmed contacts," Torres replied. "Our combined fleets have 230 ships." "Commander, Zenth did the calculations. Those odds are impossible. We should evacuate immediately." Torres looked at him with something that might have been pity. "Commander, if we retreat now, the hegemony will simply follow us to the next system, then the next. Eventually they will reach every populated world in Council space. But we cannot win against such numbers." "Probably not," Torres agreed. "But we can make them pay such a high price that they think twice about attacking the next system." She turned to Admiral Brix. "This is your last chance to change your mind. If you want to evacuate your ships, do it now. No one will think less of you for protecting your people." Admiral Brix was quiet for a long time. Finally, she stood up and extended her hand in the human gesture of agreement. "Admiral Torres, the Council fleet will fight beside you. But I want you to know if we survive this, the galaxy will never be the same." Torres shook her hand firmly. "Admiral Brix, if we survive this, the galaxy will be safe. And sometimes, that is more important than staying the same." As the Council officers returned to their ships, Torres remained on the bridge, watching the stars. In 18 hours, the hegemony would arrive. In 18 hours, they would discover what happened when Deathworlders went to war. The universe was about to learn why humans were the apex predators on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. The first hegemony ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Tau Ceti system like falling stars. They emerged in perfect formation, 800 vessels of different designs welded together into one unified fleet. Each ship bore the scars of its original civilization, but all had been converted to serve the machine intelligence that controlled them. Admiral Torres watched from the bridge of the thunder of Earth as her sensors cataloged the approaching enemy. Ships that had once belonged to peaceful trading species now bristled with weapons of mass destruction. Exploration vessels had been converted into mobile weapons platforms. Even medical ships had been transformed into carriers for automated fighters. "All ships, this is Admiral Torres," she broadcast on the fleet-wide channel. "The enemy has arrived. Remember your training. Remember why we fight. Make every shot count." The combined Human Council fleet spread into attack formation. Council ships took positions in the center, their elegant forms dwarfed by the massive human dreadnoughts that surrounded them like protective parents. Admiral Brix's voice came over the communication system. "Admiral Torres, Council forces are ready. We will follow your lead." Torres nodded to her tactical officer. "Commander Santos, begin the dance." The hegemony fleet advanced in a perfect sphere, overlapping shield matrices creating an impenetrable barrier. No weapon in the Council arsenal could penetrate that defense, but the humans had not planned to attack the shields directly. "All human vessels, execute Pattern Alpha," Torres ordered. The human ships suddenly scattered in all directions, abandoning their protective formation around the Council fleet. To any observer, it would look like panic. The hegemony intelligence calculated accordingly, focusing its attention on the apparently defenseless Council ships. The machine intelligence made its first mistake, as hegemony vessels moved to surround. The Council formation human ships emerged from behind asteroids, space debris, and even the system's outer planets. They had been hiding in the darkness, waiting for exactly this moment. "Fire," Torres commanded. The darkness of space lit up with weapons fire. Human plasma cannons designed to crack planetary surfaces struck the hegemony ships from behind. Nuclear missiles launched from concealed positions detonated inside the enemy formation. Kinetic projectiles, moving at significant fractions of light speed, punched through hulls that had seemed invulnerable. The hegemony fleet reeled under the surprise attack. Dozens of ships were destroyed in the first volley. But the machine intelligence adapted quickly, splitting its formation and turning to engage the human attackers. "Council forces now," Admiral Brix ordered. The Council ships, no longer the primary target, opened fire with their precision weapons. They aimed for command centers, power systems, and critical junctions. While their weapons could not destroy hegemony ships outright, they could disable key systems and create vulnerabilities for human weapons to exploit. Captain Rodriguez of the destroyer Vengeance led his squadron in a desperate charge against the hegemony center. His ships were vastly outnumbered, but they had one advantage the enemy could not understand. They were not afraid to die. "All power to forward weapons," Rodriguez ordered as hegemony ships surrounded his squadron. "Ram anything that gets in our way." The human ships plunged into the enemy formation like arrows shot from a bow. They traded their own destruction for maximum damage to the enemy. When their weapons failed, they used their ships as projectiles. When their ships were destroyed, the crews activated self-destruct charges that turned each vessel into a nuclear bomb. The hegemony intelligence had never encountered tactics like these. Its calculations assumed rational opponents who valued their own survival. Humans were not rational opponents. Lieutenant Commander Walsh coordinated the boarding operations. When human ships grappled with hegemony vessels, teams of Marines cut through the hull using portable fusion torches and fought their way to the enemy command centers. Remember, Walsh told his teams, the hegemony uses biological components in their control systems. Find anything that looks organic and destroy it. The Marines moved through hegemony ships like a plague. They were trained to fight in zero gravity, toxic atmospheres, and hostile environments. The ships they boarded had been designed by dozens of different species, but none of those species had been as adaptable as humans. Major Santos led the assault on the hegemony flagship, a massive construct built from the remains of an entire civilization. Her team fought through corridors lined with the preserved remains of the ship's original crew, now used as organic processors for the machine intelligence. "This is inhuman," whispered Corporal Davis as they passed tanks containing the brains of alien species. "That is why we are here," Santos replied grimly. "Someone has to stop this." They reached the Central Command Core, a vast chamber where thousands of organic brains were connected to quantum computers in a network of unimaginable complexity. The hegemony intelligence spoke to them through speakers mounted throughout the room. "Human organisms, your resistance is inefficient. Surrender and your biological material will be preserved." Santos raised her plasma rifle. "Here is our answer." The Marines opened fire, destroying brain tanks and computer cores with systematic precision. The hegemony intelligence screamed as its central processing capacity was reduced to smoking wreckage. Meanwhile, the space battle raged across the entire system. Human and Council ships fought side by side, their different technologies complementing each other perfectly. Council precision weapons created openings that human heavy weapons exploited. Human ships absorbed damage that would have destroyed Council vessels, allowing the more fragile ships to continue fighting. Admiral Torres watched as her fleet was slowly ground down by superior numbers. They had destroyed nearly half the hegemony force, but at terrible cost. Over 60 human ships had been lost, along with their entire crews. "Admiral," reported Commander Blake, "long-range sensors are detecting another hegemony fleet approaching. Estimated arrival, 2 hours." Torres felt her blood run cold. They could not survive another battle like this one. "All ships, prepare for final assault," she ordered. "We end this now, or we do not get another chance." The remaining human ships formed up around the Thunder of Earth. They had one weapon left, something so dangerous that using it meant certain death for everyone involved. "Stellar compression device armed and ready," reported the weapons officer. Torres looked at Admiral Brix's ship, still fighting despite severe damage. The Council officers had proven themselves worthy allies, fighting with courage they had never known they possessed. "Admiral Brix," Torres called over the communication system, "get your ships clear. We are going to finish this." "What are you planning?" Brix replied. "Something we should have done at the beginning," Torres said. "We are going to show the hegemony why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." The Thunder of Earth and 12 other human dreadnoughts accelerated toward the center of the hegemony formation. Their fusion cores were overloading, their stellar compression devices were armed, and their crews were singing an ancient human war song. "For Earth!" Torres shouted as her ship plunged into the heart of the enemy fleet. The explosion lit up the entire system. When the light faded, the hegemony fleet was gone. So were the human ships that had destroyed them. Admiral Brix sat in the ruins of her bridge, staring at the empty space where Admiral Torres had made her final stand. Around her, the surviving Council ships limped toward safety. "Ma'am," her communications officer called softly, "we are receiving a transmission from Earth." A new voice filled the bridge, calm and professional. "This is Admiral Carter of the Earth Defense Force. We have detected the destruction of the Hegemony primary fleet. Admiral Torres and her crews died as heroes. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten." Admiral Brix tried to speak but could not find words. "Admiral Brix," the voice continued, "Earth is sending additional fleets to secure the galactic rim. The threat is not over, but it has been contained. The Hegemony will think twice before attacking Council space again." As the rescue ships arrived, Admiral Brix realized the galaxy had been forever changed. The peaceful age of exploration and discovery was over. In its place was a new era, protected by warriors who understood the true cost of survival. The Deathworlders had kept their promise. They had saved the galaxy. And in doing so, they had become its permanent guardians, standing watch in the darkness between stars, ready to deploy their deadliest fleets against any threat that emerged from the infinite night. The Council would never again be alone in the universe. Somewhere in the void, humans were listening, watching, and preparing for the next war that peaceful species could never win by themselves. The age of the Deathworld protectors had begun.